An amazing woman by my side, and just dove into real estate full time. Cut my teeth flipping houses and wholesaling houses for a few years. We were down in South Florida at the time. My wife and I just packed up, relocated after we got married, came to Nashville, Tennessee to build out the real estate business further. Again, was making a lot of active income, flipping houses and doing a single family game. And then ultimately was taking all that capital and deploying it into buying commercial real estate. So multifamily apartments specifically.
Welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast, where we bring to you the most successful, happy, fulfilled gentlemen from around the world who have been able to conquer themselves, their life, their marriage, and their businesses. You will be learning from four-dimensional gentlemen who have cracked the code to the science of having it all. The question is, how can married entrepreneurs with kids become gentlemen, achieve true freedom, and build a successful, happy, and fulfilled life, marriage, and business? This show will give you the answer for that. My name is Alex Ramirez, and I'm your host, and you're welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, Fulfillment Talk podcast. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. As always, today I have an incredible guest. He's the definition of what I call a modern gentleman, and I'm very excited to get to talk to him, get to learn from him, and connect with him. But before I introduce this gentleman to you, I just want to give a big shout out to all of you who have been leaving likes, comments, and reviews on all the major podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, and Spotify. And to those who have been watching on YouTube as well, thank you very much. You are the reason why I do and we do what we do. And I want to ask you for a small favor today. I want to ask you that if you get something out of this interview, if you get some type of value, some new skill, an insight, an information, or the inspiration to go out and take action to make some progress towards your goals, I want to ask you to please share this episode with 10 people. Right? Share it on social media, send it to 10 people on text or whatever, but share it with 10 people. And that way you can help us motivate, inspire, and bless other men out there to change their lives. And today I have Chad King, and he started his business career selling copiers door to door for Xerox. And while becoming the top producer of the company, Chad was simultaneously studying successful individuals, just like I'm doing right now, that had tremendous wealth and prosperity. He noticed a common theme amongst many of these successful people, which was real estate. With nothing but an amazing woman by his side, Chad jumped into the real estate full time. And he's now the owner of several companies in several different verticals, an accomplished investor, and a business coach teaching sales, investing, asset acquisition, and income stream building. Chad's passion is building generational wealth through investing in assets. He currently owns 635 units of multifamily apartments that he has acquired through direct purchase, and in completing 506 BNC syndications. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm interested in learning that. Chad achieved financial freedom in his late 20s and has a passion for helping other people do the same. And when he's not working, he's having fun along his wife and daughter. And he's a husband, father, entrepreneur, investor, coach. So I'm excited for this one. Thank you very much for being here, Chad. And you are welcome, man.
Thank you so much for having me, Alex. Blessed to be on the show with you, man, and hoping to motivate, inspire, and bless some other entrepreneurs, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Thanks, man. So the first thing that I do with my guest is I ask them to walk us through their entrepreneurial journey in 75 seconds or less.
75 seconds or less. When does the clock start? Right now?
Yeah, go.
So I was selling copiers door to door, kind of cutting my teeth at Xerox, just making my way around office buildings, getting doors slammed in my face. Did that for a couple of years. Did not want to climb the corporate ladder. So ultimately got out and like you said, was studying successful individuals, saw this real estate thing. I caught the bug, like a lot of people do, where you read the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you start diving down the rabbit holes about assets versus liabilities. Just once you catch the bug, it's tough to get out of it, tough to get rid of it. So I dove in full time in my early 20s. Was very fortunate to be in a situation to be able to commit. I had an amazing woman by my side, and just dove into real estate full time. Cut my teeth flipping houses and wholesaling houses for a few years. We were down in South Florida at the time. My wife and I just packed up, relocated after we got married, came to Nashville, Tennessee to build out the real estate business further. again, was making a lot of active income, flipping houses and doing a single family game. And then ultimately was taking all that capital and deploying it into buying commercial real estate. So multifamily apartments specifically. So that's what I've been doing for the last, since 2018 at a high rate, is just buying commercial real estate. And the thing you were referring to is 506B and 506C syndication. So now we buy larger apartment complexes and we're able to syndicate funds from other investors to buy these properties. So that's what I'm up to now. And I'm pretty well versed in a lot of different financial markets, cryptocurrencies, stuff like that. So I'm in a lot of buckets now that I'm able to diversify.
Nice. That's an exciting journey. So you started early, right? So how old were you when you were selling, door-to-door copiers? How old were you?
21.
21. So that was when you started. So what got you there, man? Like, not a lot of people end up at 21. Well, yeah, maybe a lot of people, right? But it's not that usual that people end up at 21 selling door-to-door, copiers.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wanted to, I got degrees in finance at my university that I attended. And I was really curious about this concept of money, which is why I got the degree in finance. Subsequently, a degree in finance doesn't really teach you anything about money. A college degree doesn't teach you much about anything you need when becoming an entrepreneur. So don't waste your time. But the concept of money was like this thing that I wanted to really understand. And I wanted to figure out how to acquire lots of it. And what I realized was commission salespeople are the ones that kind of can control their own checks, because I'm able to, based on my activity level and my skill set and my ability to polish up and become better, I'm able to control the amount of income I make. So I didn't want to go to a place where I was capped. I had a ceiling. I wanted to go to a place where they rewarded performance, they rewarded results, and I had an unlimited amount of a headspace to make, any amount of money that I possibly could based on the activity level. Cause all I had was, I had just a ton of motivation and energy and to put into it.
Mm-hmm. So you were trying to like figure out the money part, the money game from very, very early on. So where did all of this motivation come from, man?
That's a good question. I think it's been like innate and instilled from a young age, just the ability to work hard. And I don't know, man, I think freedom was always kind of the idea that had stuck with me, growing up, is just wanting to be able to live life on my own terms and create a destiny that, we create for ourselves, not one that's given to us or handed down by anybody. So I think the concept of freedom, we talk about like physical freedom, emotional freedom, financial freedom, and then the last one,
sentimental freedom. Yeah.
Right. So you talk about all four of those freedoms, like those take energy and those take money. Honestly, you have to be able to have money to get those. So having the motivation to get to the freedom, realizing that money was the vehicle and the tool to get there. Cause let's be honest, like, money does make the world go round, and we live on an economic planet. So it's really important. And if you're going to have those four types of freedom, I would recommend you figure out how to accumulate money, figure out how to keep it, and then figure out how to multiply it, because then it's going to be a lot easier to get the freedom you want.
Mm-hmm. I ask because like intrinsic motivation is rare. I mean, I feel like that it's rare. Like people are on TikTok all day, watching social media, maybe smoking, right? But like, there's not a lot of motivated people. I mean, that's not usual. I bet there's a lot of motivated people, but it's not usual. It's not very usual. And then I asked because I was also very motivated since I was like a little kid, at 10, selling chips and candy at school, and then selling like Chinese stuff at 12, 13, selling cars at 14. And then all that motivation, right? I directed it to the wrong things from 14 to 18. But I always had this. I always knew that I was going to, that I wanted to do, like big things. But I just got derailed, right? And then I got back on track, right? And I needed something to get me back on track, and I got it. So did you experience anything like this?
For me, there was not like a specific event that I can point to that like triggered the motivation. But what I will say about it is, I think I was fortunate to grow up in a time where, I want to call it the younger generation, I feel like has, and call them, 26 and under, has kind of grown up in a world where everybody gets a trophy, especially here in America. Mm-hmm. Like we've been very privileged the last few years. So they have not spit out a lot of motivated young entrepreneurs. So I think there's a huge opportunity for guys your age and guys similar to you to like really make a dent in the marketplace, because for the last 15, 20 years, like the generation has been taught, like everybody gets a trophy. The competition fire has been sort of diminished, and people are taught to, like, just be friends. But I was very, very competitive from a very young age, always the captain of the sports teams, wanting to win, hated losing. And I think that's something that we need to, bring back, is like, there are winners and there are losers. Mm-hmm. And they try and preach this, like everybody gets a trophy, but we need more winners in the world right now. Especially here in America, like we need winners to step up. We need leaders to step up. We need young leaders to step up. And I was fortunate enough to have those instilled in me, growing up from my mother and father. Was just very, very competitive. Mm-hmm. Father never let me win a thing. A high man of integrity, Navy guy, career nice. Man. So, I was very fortunate enough to grow up like that. And I think it stems into the motivation too.
Yeah. So, man, it's really easy to win right now. Like this year, I'm building a network of over 500 high-level entrepreneurs just like you. Yeah. Using my podcast. And I'm also building a company that makes $100,000 per month. So by the end of the year, I'll have $1 million company. And it's like very easy to do this. Like, and people are like, holy shit, like, how are you getting to 110 episodes for your podcast 6 months after starting it? Well, I'm just like willing to put in the work. Like, there's really no, like, how did I get you on the podcast? I just reached out, right? I told you a few things.
And we're doing this interview at 8 p.m. like at night, so like you got to be willing to put in the work. A lot of people are up, playing Call of Duty or doing something, that they're not putting in the work. So everything you're saying is a direct correlation of the amount of energy and work you're putting in. The marketplace is rewarding that because it knows. So kudos to you.
Thanks. So you had a lot of energy, right? You didn't have like this, like rock bottom. Did you have any of that? Like rock bottom, this like, people either are motivated for something or are running away from something, right? Either they like just want to do things right, or something that went wrong is motivating them. So did you have anything like wrong going on in your life?
Oh, I mean, I had my version of a rock bottom, and everybody's is different. And I think, everybody, has their own version of theirs. And mine was after I got in. It was my first year being an entrepreneur, which, to the entrepreneurs listening, like you guys know, that first year, the first few years can be pretty brutal. But I do remember that first year, like on the verge of getting my car repossessed. I was like selling stuff around my fiance's house, like little like iPods and trinkets and stuff to make the car payment. Like I remember, this opening up the center console to find change so I could buy my next meal. Like I was dead broke. I was financing the business on credit cards. So I was piling up a big credit card bill for like marketing for the single family homes that I was doing. So my version of rock bottom was like dead broke as a joke. And I was, in a place where I was getting, very nervous about the situation that I was in. And I had no way but forward. Right. And I was not going back to Xerox. I was not going back to corporate America. Like I had to make it work. And I think when you have when you're in a place like that, you develop a level of resourcefulness that will serve you in the future when you do have money. Because I've had no money and I've had money, and it's much better. It's much better with it. And when you develop this resourcefulness that you can get without it, it just allows you to do a lot more when you get it. So, I mean, I had my own version of rock bottom. It was a long-winded answer of, I was so.
And you didn't give up, right? Now you're here. So you started studying these successful people, which is one of the reasons why I started my podcast, right? Because I thought, well, I can't make this modern gentleman thing work. Like 30 and 35-year-olds are not willing to make me money to teach them. So let me start, interviewing modern gentlemen. That way I can benefit. And then at the same time, anyone who listens to my podcast will be able to benefit as well. And that, I'll be able to fulfill my purpose. So like I started interviewing successful people. So how did that look for you? And like, what was the importance of that? What do you see was the impact of doing that, man?
Of doing
like
what?
Studying successful people, getting around them and stuff.
Oh man. I mean, when we choose what we consume, so we live in this fantastic time where we all have these little things that are next to us and they have an unlimited amount of information. And I think people are using them the wrong way. So when you can use them the right way and you can choose to study, a lot of the way that these people became successful is not a secret. Like they write books. Most people don't want to read a book nowadays. Like you need to be reading books. You need to be listening.
That's how I learned how to speak English, man. Exactly. I read 2 hours every single day out loud.
Yep. You want to learn a new skill. Like you got to dive into books, you podcasts, audiobooks. I mean, and there's no excuses anymore and everything's at your fingertips. So, and I would also recommend, what I did was I picked a very, like a handful of people, less than a handful of people, and just really studied them. I think there are so many different influencers, there's so many distractions, so many people to follow, and so many different opinions. You can get caught up in that stuff, and it can really start to, get in your head of like people telling you, it's, the metaverse is the next thing, or NFTs, or crypto and stock market, going to real estate. And there's so many different, all this noise. Like I picked 3 or 4 people and I just dissected their lives. I read all their books, listened to all their stuff. One of those guys happened to be a guy by the name of Grant Cardone, and like pulled the layers of that guy's, onion back and figured out where his real wealth was. And that was ultimately what, really started making me hone in on apartments. So studying those successful people is like, the blueprint is there, folks. And what's cool is you start to study these people and you realize there's no silver bullet. Like none of these people had anything that any of us don't have, and they all have the same 24 hours. So when you study them, you're like, shit, they have exactly the same thing I have, which is 24 hours. They're just choosing to spend it differently. And I think that's like real eye-opening, is just realizing every single one of these people that we typically put on a pedestal, especially on social media, is just a human being. The same amount of time, they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you. It's just they choose to spend their time differently. And I think that's what you need to focus on when studying successful people, is how they spend their time, because that ultimately is the greatest asset we have. And most people are not investing it well.
Yeah, time and energy. And there's 3 things that happen when you start doing that, when you start like studying successful people. One, you get envious. That's like the first level of awareness, right? You get envious of these people because you're in victim mode, and you're like, why are they so lucky? And why do they have all of this? And I don't, right? Yeah. So you get envious. Then, you level up a little bit and you get fearful, because you start to realize that they put their pants one leg at a time as well. And that I could literally be doing that as well. I just have to go through the process and be willing to put in the work. And you get fearful because, like it's a reflection of your own potential that you have, and you get fearful about that, right? You get fearful because you're not living up to it. And then the third level is you get inspired, right? And that's when you start like, taking action and start moving forward towards your goals and putting in the hours and the work and going through the process. So yeah, that's cool, man. So yeah, there's really no silver bullet, right? It's just
go ahead.
Focus and willing to put in the work.
That's it, man. And like, if you're, I don't know, if you are in that first bucket that you mentioned, where you're kind of hating on them, on successful people, and you're not in the third bucket,
it's a trap.
Yeah. You're telling the universe, what you're doing is you're telling the universe that you're not worthy of that. Right. And when you do that, the universe is a very powerful thing. And there are laws that are present, although you can't see them. And when you hate on success, you're telling the universe that you don't want it, and you're not going to, and it doesn't matter how hard you work, it will not reward you. But when you are inspired and you look at successful people, you look at people that are, using their resources and using the great idea of capitalism, and being able to like have a dream to go to space, and then they're achieving that dream, like that should freaking inspire people. And if it makes you butthurt, it's because you're not living up to your potential. And it's just turning a mirror on yourself, and you choose to hate on it because it makes you feel better about being a victim. So I've
seen this pattern amongst girls, right? Amongst like my own family, like I have I know some girls that they want to be like superstars, and they want to be like, have like an amazing body and be rich and famous, be Instagram models. But then when they see an Instagram model that is rich and famous and has like hundreds of thousands of followers, they're like, oh, fucking bitch. And like, they criticize her. Right. And unconsciously, they're like, they'll never be, even though they say they want that, unconsciously, they'll never allow themselves to be that, because they know that when they become that, there'll be someone else just like them, criticizing them and hitting on them. And like, the last thing that someone wants is not be loved, right? Not be approved, not be validated.
Yeah. You gotta watch what thoughts enter your head, because your thoughts become your words, and your words become your actions become your life. So just be careful what you're thinking and speaking.
Yeah. So you were struggling, right? For like the first maybe year or two. Yep. You didn't give up. So now let's like dive into like the upward side of your real estate career. How old are you right now?
30.
30. Holy cow, man. You're extremely young. That's amazing. Yeah. I like it. I love it.
My soul's been around a long time, brother. I'm an
Really?
old.
Tell me about that, man. I've been diving into like the spiritual side of things. So right now, we talked a little bit about like the universe and energy, and then now you're mentioning the soul. And I've been asking for some wisdom and discernment, and I've been diving deeper into the unseen, right? Into the metaphysical.
Mm.
And and then like this is metaphysical because my last 15 interviews, I've had guests who talk about that. And I didn't do that. Like I didn't know, right? So there's some messages there, and it's felt really good. So tell me, like, what do you mean by your soul has been here for a long time?
I believe that call it whatever you want, call it God, call it the universe, call
Yeah.
it there people have different names for it. I call it the divine light. It is the universe. It is all existing. It's all encompassing. It's been here forever. And I think that we go back and forth from that. And we've been here many, many times, some of us more than others, some of us in different forms, not always in the same form, but in other dimensions and doing different things. And I think all of our lives give us lessons that we can choose to take onto the next lives or whatever it may be. So I've been on a spiritual journey myself to find out kind of why we're all doing this. Like what's the point of it? Because I've found that as you get to the next levels, there's always another level. And you say you'll be happy when you have this, or you'll be happy when you have this, and then when you get there, it's like your soul is not feeling fulfilled, is because you're not actually walking in your calling. So one of the reasons freedom is so important in becoming, this modern gentleman or gentlewoman that we're talking about, is because you have got to attain financial freedom in order to walk in your soul's calling. And because your soul's calling is likely not at your W-2 job, and it's not working 80 hours to build and grind in a business. Your soul's calling is something bigger. And if you're not walking in that, then you're dying, in my opinion. And we have all heard the phrase, if you're not growing, you're dying. Well, if your soul has a calling for you here on this planet for this lifetime that you're here on this vessel that you're seeing me, in this light, then, you're not really living what your soul's meant to be doing here.
I love that, man, because so like the life for every human being is purpose, growth, and contribution. Like everyone has a purpose, right? And like if you don't step into it and you're not willing to grow and contribute, like anything, like if you look out in nature, everything is growing and contributing. Anything that doesn't grow and contribute gets taken out of the food chain. And as human beings, everyone has a purpose, right? Like everyone has this thing that they're here for, but most people are not willing to step on it because either because of fear, or because they're too attached to certainty, or because they can't handle uncertainty, or because they want to be liked by everyone and they can't handle the thought of not being liked, right, by someone if they post something on social media that they sell or whatever. But like everyone has a purpose, and we're here to, like, for that purpose, to grow and contribute. And if you don't step into those three, like you're dying, like you're literally dying.
Yeah. And we have majority of the people on this planet are just existing here. That's what they're doing, is they're just here for a very short window. And they're not growing, they're not contributing, and they're not prospering and not walking in their purpose. And they're going to leave this planet the same way. And then their soul's going to have an opportunity to come back, and we'll see if they change or choose a different vessel or a different calling to walk in. But the real pandemic on this planet is people not walking in their purpose and walking in their calling and growing. That is the.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. Real quick, do you want to know how I've been using my podcast to build a multi-million-dollar network with over 100 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs, reach hundreds of my ideal clients with my message coaching service and podcast, get invited to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months alone, throw my own events, and have over 100 successful entrepreneurs being willing to speak at my events, become a millionaire in 1 year, get mentored by multi-millionaires, and achieve goals that I thought were going to take me 10 years to achieve in 1 year, and ultimately get unstuck and make quantum leaps of progress in my business and life with less than 1 hour of work just by being myself. If you answered yes to any of those, I just want to invite you to a free training showing you how I've been able to build a multi-million-dollar network that is helping me achieve bigger income goals faster with only 1 hour of speaking and just being myself. To be honest, I thought I was going to be a multi-millionaire, speak on stages, throw my own events, and live a successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and impact in 10 years from now. That seemed so far away, but my podcast has been able to help me do that in less than 6 months. I'm actually doing all of that this year at the age of 21 with my podcast. I'm reaching thousands of people with my message, my service, my podcast, my coaching. I've gotten booked to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months. And on these stages, I'm going to be getting in front of hundreds of my ideal clients, making roughly around 15 to 30K plus per event. Not only that, I have a network of over 100 high-level, multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs who have all agreed to speak at my event. Getting clients is a problem of the past. I've gotten the opportunities to learn from billionaires, and I'm collapsing decades of time, and I'm literally achieving what I thought was going to take me 10 years to achieve in 1 year. All of this because I use podcasting as a networking tool, and I leveraged a rare concept called the cloak track. And I want the exact same thing for you. Just imagine where you could be in 1 year from now if you get this free training right now. That is why I'm inviting you to this training. On this short training, you're going to learn how a small group of purpose-driven entrepreneurs, authors, coaches, course creators, and speakers have combined podcasting with this rare concept called the cloak track to build a multi-million-dollar network, reach thousands of their ideal clients with their message, books, courses, coaching, make an extra $118,800, get booked on 10 stages, and build a successful network of entrepreneurs who speak on their stage, all of this in under 6 months. I'm going to walk you through the 4 steps to make this work. Step number 1, alignment. Getting clear on who you want to be, what you want to do, your goals, your purpose, and aligning all of this with building your podcast and your ideal podcast guest. Step number 2, leveraging the cloak track to find your ideal podcast guest and never running out of them. Step number 3, leveraging the cloak track to close an interview with anyone, no matter how rich, famous, or out of your league they may seem. And step number 4, the content machine. The content machine is the key to tapping into other people's audiences. And I'm going to show you all of those 4 steps. The link to access this free training is in the description of this video. Click on it and go watch this training right now so that you can learn how you can too build a multi-million-dollar network that helps you achieve bigger goals faster and with less effort. Note, this training is only available to 18 people, so act right now, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye.
The real situation that we found ourselves in, because if everybody was walking in their purpose, we would all be super blessed. Like, I am blessed. I am more blessed for you walking in your purpose, because otherwise I would not be sitting here with you. So because you're choosing to walk in your purpose, I am blessed. And when I do the same thing, others are blessed. When I'm walking in my purpose, others are receiving that blessing and they're incentivized to go walk in theirs.
Yeah. So yeah, man, 100%. So there's this saying that Grant Cardone has that, like, the reason people are heading is because they don't have like anything to do, right? Like, if you were busy focusing on your purpose and just wanting to like have impact and focused on, doing your own things, you wouldn't even have time to like fool around or hate on other people, right?
Yeah.
So,
he says white space is the devil's playground, and he's talking about count in your calendar. So idle time is the playground of the devil. Like, and he says keep your calendar packed, but what he also means is, make sure it's productive. Like, don't just make yourself busy. Like, pack your calendar with productive stuff that's going to move the needle for you. Like, are you reading 10 pages a day or working out for 30 minutes? Like, I mean, you need to be packing it with stuff that are going to help you achieve all these levels of freedom that we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree 100%.
So what is the purpose that you're working on right now, that you're, dedicating 10x levels of thinking and 10x levels of action? What is it that you're moving towards right now?
I believe that I was called here to lead, and I believe that I was called here to lead humans and people and men and women to understand that there are other paths, that the ones that we were laid out for growing up in this country. So, like, the way that the education system is set up, the way that we're told kind of exactly the path that we're supposed to take: go to school, trade your time for money, go to school to get a degree so you can get a degree to get a job, so you can get a job to get a 401k, so you can get a 401k to retire. That path is very, very antiquated, and it's also structured and set up by higher people that just want drones, and they don't actually want people who can live in freedom. And I'm super passionate about like spreading that message, and also not just the message, but how to do it. Because I think the biggest problem that people do is they talk about this like elusive freedom, but then what is the applicable steps? So, like, I have a coaching company that talks about how to invest in apartment complexes and buy commercial real estate so that passive income then exceed your expenses and get you out of the rat race, which will then allow you to start to begin to tithe and walk in your calling. So teaching others not only about what real freedom actually is, which is working for yourself, not needing anything from anybody, but also how to do it, like what vehicles you can use, and what you need to invest your money in so that those vehicles can produce a life that you design. So, yeah.
So I like that, man. So, I told you about those 7 brothers, well, those 7 kids that my dad had. Well, only 2 are doing something with their life right now.
Yeah.
The other ones are repeating cycles or just not doing anything. And it's me and my brother. My brother lives in Miami, Florida right now. And, I'm like, what I'm called to do is to build a world movement, helping men become modern gentlemen and step into their God-given, potential, right? To become the best version of themselves and be able to build impactful, purpose-driven, and profitable businesses and build legacies. That's my purpose. That's what I'm here for. To motivate, inspire, and bless millions. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And as well as building the, biggest family empire, real estate empire known to the world. And I'm doing that with my brother. So I want to, we want to become developers. We're going to be developing like cities, right? Cities. And right now, like the first step is building an investment fund. So right now, how we make money on like the real estate side, the financial side, is by lending money, right? So we lend money, and what you live as collateral is like a property, right? So, like we make money on interest, and if you don't pay, well, we stay with your property. So that's, how we do right now. But we want to, like start an investment fund, invest in apartments. And then, we will ultimately want to be like the biggest developers here in the United States, as well as help men become better men, help men become modern gentlemen. Right. So yeah, so like I'm super interested in like hearing about your real estate, career and how you do everything that you do, man.
Sure. Yeah, it's a broad question. It's a great question. I love what you're doing. It sounds like we have very similar callings and similar paths that we're going to be on. So I'm excited. I'm glad we're talking. And
it's about collaboration, right? Like,
dude, you don't, that brings up a great point. You guys who are listening, realize you do not have to do this alone. You, as an entrepreneur, there are times where we feel like we're on an island, right? And it's true. At the end of the day, you go to bed with yourself. That's it. But when it comes to businesses, like, find good partners and leverage other people and collaborations. And, the school system teaches us not to cheat and that failure is a bad thing, but an entrepreneur, not to cheat, not to collaborate, and that failure is a bad thing. And as an entrepreneur, collaboration with others and failure are literally your path forward. Like, you must do it if you want to grow and scale. Like, you can, I don't want to say you can't do it alone. It's going to take you 100 times longer versus finding people that you align with, finding people that your core values align with, and then figuring out kind of what vehicles they're driving. And sometimes you can get in their vehicle, they can get in yours, you could drive together, do collaborations and things together. As long as they line up core value wise. I think that's one of the biggest misnomers that entrepreneurs get, is they got to think they got to figure it out on their own. When this entrepreneur space, everybody is willing to help. Believe it or not, all ships rise with the tide. There's an abundance mentality as an entrepreneur. Like, just because Alex is successful doesn't mean I can't be any less successful. Just because I own apartments doesn't mean Alex can't. Just because, he wants to be the biggest developer in the United States doesn't mean I can't also be the biggest developer in the United States.
Yeah.
So,
just because I want to have a world movement doesn't mean you can't have your own world movement, right?
But people who are in this in this other mentality, if that switch hasn't flipped for you, you think that it's not a zero sum, or it is a zero sum game where if one wins, the other has to lose. But, we have way too many Indians and not enough chiefs. Like, there are not enough people at the top, and getting there allows you to, then turn around and help others get up as well, which is the most rewarding part. So now I get excited. I was on a call today helping one of my buddies, close a 72 unit apartment complex. And I'm more fired up for him to do that deal than I was the closing we had last week, where we bought that deal. Or I'm probably going to be more excited for that one than the one that we're selling in 2 weeks. And, it's like, I just get so excited when I see other people win. So to circle back to your question, we took a tangent because you said collaboration, and I felt like I had to go down that rabbit hole. Hopefully somebody got some value.
Great.
Somebody out there needed to hear that. But from a real estate side, was doing the wholesaling and flipping of the homes to make active income. And then realized like after doing a couple hundred deals in a year, like that's a lot of transactions. There had to be a better way, because once that year ended, like you just got to go back out and keep doing it. So when you get off that wheel, you can make flipping houses is great and you can make a lot of money, but it's a very active job as long as you're still in it, right? It's a it's a high paying, job. It's not really, you're not really an investor until you start to take that money now, which is what we do, and buy apartments. So my first little deal I bought was a 14 unit apartment complex. Bought it with my own capital and 2 other guys. And then the next one I bought was me and 1 other guy, was a 21 unit apartment complex, and then got some more confidence and bought a 27 unit, then got some more confidence and bought a 49 unit. And then realized after the 21 unit, I realized that I couldn't do this with just my own money because I was capped at how much money I had in the bank. So when I bought the 49 unit, that was our first syndication. So it was a 506B syndication, meaning you can raise money from people in your network. A 506C syndication is you can raise money from anybody, and you can make the offering to the public. So we did a couple 506B syndications within our network and raised a few $1 million to purchase a 49, then a 65, and then 93. And now we've just sort of scaled our way up through, buying these complexes and raising capital through my company, Titan Capital Group. And that's what we're doing. And we just, we keep scaling it up. I have some other businesses now. I still have a single family business that flips houses. That's very automated at this point. And then have the main company, which is the apartment buying company. And then we also are a little vertically integrated. We have an insurance arm. We have some other things. So we're working on a property management division. I have some other companies and some other investments as well. So that's nice. That was kind of my upward tick that you wanted to hear about.
Awesome, man.
That was over the course of many, many years.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So let's see. So man, we want to go right into raising money, man. What do you think about that? Like we were like, we don't have anything holding us back. Like literally there's nothing holding you back. Right. And, we'll probably get a bunch of rejection, but then, by the way, now I remembered. Have you heard of tokenized real estate?
Yes.
Holy shit, right? Like that's going to change the game, man.
Yeah, it's a book, isn't it? I haven't read it, but I've heard of the term tokenized real estate, and I've read a couple articles about it. Is it a book?
Have you heard of DigiShares?
No.
DigiShares is this platform that is allowing, that is based on the blockchain, that is allowing, you go into the platform, and you're able to, if you have a property, you're able to create shares for that real estate investment. And instead of, for example, Grant Cardone, the minimum that you can invest with him is $250,000, right? And that's only a very small percentage of the world. But now you can give access to the rest of the world by tokenizing real estate and by almost selling shares of that real estate investment. And you can literally invest $100.
Yeah. So we sell shares. We just do it in the universe, not the metaverse. But I don't know if the metaverse selling shares on real estate, like tokenized real estate. I guess it's not metaverse real estate. You're just utilizing the tokenization and the blockchain to take investments. But you can do it. I'd be curious, but you could do it all over the country. So we have a problem with foreign money investing here in our 506 syndications. It's just, you can do it, but it's a lot more hoops to jump through. So if they've cracked the code on allowing, basically using cryptocurrencies and the blockchain to allow anybody to invest in real estate, that is powerful, from anywhere in the country.
Yeah. So there's an event going on this next Thursday in Miami. Me and my brother have an extra ticket. So if you want to come, man, I'll be happy to give it to you.
Thursday in Miami?
Yeah. It's a 2-day event. We have not free ticket, but we have an extra ticket that, I can give to you. That would be great. So yeah, we can talk more about it later.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let
me just call the jet and I'll just fly down there and I'll just get the G5 on standby.
Cool.
I'm just kidding, man. Thanks for the invite. I got to talk to my wife. We're having a little baby in 2 months and we have a 1-year-old at the home. So it might be a little tough for me to get down.
Congrats, man. They grew really fast. My daughter is 3. Yeah. My wife just sent me a picture today that my daughter was asleep in the car. And she's this huge little thing now. She's no longer a baby anymore. Man,
it's awesome. That's really cool that you guys are going to that. That's incredible.
So yeah, real estate, man. So I want to build companies. So I'm part of this mastermind. Are you part of any mastermind?
Many.
Yeah. All right. So I'm part of, I've been part of many masterminds as well. Gary J. White, Body, Being, Balance, and Business. King's Council, they talk about the 5 power pillars. Right now I'm part of the program. They talk about family, fitness, focus, finance. And there's all of these masterminds that have pretty much the same message that I have, right? Same message, different messenger. And that's how I realized, like, I was like, holy moly, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm part of this mastermind. And the real business model of these masterminds, is like, yeah, it's cool. They charge 36,000 to 100K to be part of them for a year. That sounds cool. But the real business model is, so like, for example, for my current mastermind that I'm part of right now, the real business model is not charging you $36,000 to be part of it, right? It's helping you become that modern gentleman. They just don't call it modern gentleman, right? There's like, they call it lion, they call it king, they call it warrior, whatever.
Sure.
But it's helping you become this modern gentleman, right? The analogy that they use is, imagine, Lewis Hamilton, the best driver, the best Formula One driver in the world, right? What would happen if they put this guy in a Toyota Corolla? He will still crush it because he's Lewis Hamilton. His skills didn't go away just because he jumped into a Toyota Corolla. So he will still, be able to drive really well. But what would happen if they put the average entrepreneur in a Formula One car? He wouldn't make it past the first turn, right? He would crash. He would crash the business. So like what they aim is to turn you into a Lewis Hamilton, because they claim that building the Formula One car, building an amazing business is easy, right? Most of the time, it's not about the business, but the businessman. So that's what these masterminds do. They're an investment firm for people who invest in themselves. Then those people become, modern gentlemen. And then, they on the back end, they have the tools, the network, the whatever, the investors, money to be able to build this business that then they will exit. And that's the real business model. So they will fill up your pockets with money, and then whatever falls is what they take, right? And that's the real business model. So that's what I'm called to do as well, help men become modern gentlemen. And like this business that I'm currently in, which is helping people start podcasts, is a business that I'm going to have a nine-figure exit with. And then, I'm going to have all the validation that I need to be able to go ahead and do what I want to do. And then put my money in real estate, which my brother is doing. So we were working side by side. So yeah. So why did I say this? Do you know why I said this? Why I said this?
No, we were just bouncing off investing in coaching and investing in masterminds. Like that was where it kind of stemmed off of, like, I think people often look at that as an expense, but I'm going to spend over $100,000 this year on myself, just in personal development, masterminds, coaching, private coaching. I have 7 coaches. So like you guys think the people once you get to this level, and by the way, I'm a small fish. Like I could get flicked off this planet by a lot of investors. Like I'm a very tiny fish. I'm on my way up, but I'm very small. But once you start to climb levels, you realize how much these people actually spend on themselves, like their personal development. So getting in rooms with people, like I'm in, I was on a coaching call yesterday, and the guy on the coaching call that's coaching me is a billionaire. And I have hectamillionaire coaches that were out, like I'm out in rooms, at dinners with hecta and deca millionaires. And these coaches are like, these are the people that you have to get, and you have to constantly get into those next levels and those next rooms, because you're going to be the people that you surround yourself with. And 9 times out of 10, folks, you have to pay to get in those rooms. Like you're not going to be able to just like come into my office and hang out with me for every day for a week. Like you can't do that, but my point here is people have to look at it as an investment in themselves, because this ultimately, before you put money into real estate, guys, you have to put money into yourself first to make yourself more valuable, or you won't become that Lewis Hamilton. So then if you don't become that Lewis Hamilton by putting money into yourself, I guarantee you Lewis Hamilton didn't become him by not investing in himself. And he became by investing time, energy, and learning new skills, learning better skills, refining his skills, polishing his skills. He learned all that by investing in himself first. So then when you go out and build this real estate business, you're not going to crash around coming around turn one.
It would actually work, right? So many people are like stuck on like, where do I invest, right? Like, where do I go? But like where they should invest is in themselves.
That's the first one. Yeah. A lot of people come to me. They're like, I got $5,000 or I got $10,000. I'm like, you don't have any money, first of all. Yeah. Like you need to go put that back into yourself and figure out how to become more valuable to go make more. And then when you start to have, when you got some capital, 6 figures to throw down. Now you can really start to make a dent in some investments.
Cool. So, man, I finished my interviews with 5 questions, but before I ask those 5, I go into asking those 5 questions.
Sure.
I want to ask one last one, which is like, what advice would you give me? Like I want to go right into buying apartments and right into, doing an investment fund.
How old are you?
21.
Okay. So right now, here's my advice. You're talking about starting an investment fund, but you don't have any deals to put it in. You don't have any apartment complexes to put it in, do you? Like, do you have deals in the hopper?
Like a deal? No,
Yeah, like an apartment complex.
Like if have I found the deal?
Yeah.
Well, pretty much. Yeah. We've been able to build a pretty big network of people who have deals, but an investment fund is something they want to do that, they think is going to happen in the future, but they haven't been able to do it.
Got it. I'm talking about a property under contract to purchase, like a piece of real estate,
No.
apartment complex. Okay. So go figure out how to find that. Go find a creative way to find those, because you're going to go start a fund and you're going to raise a bunch of money for a deal that you don't have. And yes, you need to simultaneously be raising money because you need to have the capital to buy these big deals. And I agree that you should be kind of doing them parallel. But at the end of the day, if you're just focused on building a fund and you don't know how to find, underwrite, and close multifamily properties, all you're going to be doing is just raising a fund for fun's sake. And you need to be, the hardest part about real estate right now with the Fed
finding
rate
deals.
Is finding deals.
Got
so
it.
Money, dude, look at the stock market. It's down. The stock market is a bloodbath. I don't even open my stock accounts anymore because it's just terrible. So people want an alternative investment vehicle. And right now, multifamily real estate and commercial real estate is like the tried and true with the most steadiest returns. And yes, they're tapering off because interest rates are rising. So cash flow is going to go down a little bit, but ultimately it's way better hedge against inflation. You get depreciation, you get all the tax benefits, you get all this good stuff along with capital preservation and a long-term, wealth building along with monthly cash flow. Like, you have all these other benefits that just don't exist anywhere else. And if you were loading up on, if you guys think the stock market, like, it could get even worse, right? So I would tell you to worry about finding deals. That's the hardest part right now. And you need to learn how to underwrite a property, because your biggest problem is going to be like, there could be a deal staring you in the face. And if you don't know how to underwrite a property the correct way, and find the value add, the ways that you can decrease operating expenses, or the ways that you can creatively increase income by, adding fee income or amenities, things like that, figuring out how to set yourself apart from the competition from a rental perspective so you can charge more rent, drive the NOI, and increase the value of your buildings. You don't know how to do that shit. It doesn't matter how much money you raise, because you're either going to have to find a guy like me who does know how to do that stuff. And then you're basically the capital raiser, and you can just put money into my deals, which you can do if that's what you want to do. But ultimately, if you wanted to get really valuable at a young age, figuring out how to find deals is the ultimate way to gain equity. Versus
that's the whole in this business, finding deals.
It's the holy grail.
Got it. Awesome. Thanks, man. There you go.
And if you find a deal, give me a call, because I'll help you. I'll help you walk through it. For
sure, man. Thanks. 100%. Yeah. So the first question is, Chad, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self if you could?
That same advice. Get into real estate now. Go deliver value to somebody for free. Don't worry about getting paid. Go find somebody that's doing what you're doing and ask them what you can do to help and benefit their lives. Learn everything you can about them. Study successful people, and then just mimic exactly what they're doing, and give yourself 10 years. Because this is patience. This is consistency. This is waking up every day and just chipping away at a very large marble slab in order to get to the Michelangelo stone sculpture. This is not, everything you need is already within you. And it's about chipping away at the stuff that you don't want to be there. And that's like getting rid of the bad habits. It's getting rid of the procrastination. It's getting rid of, flipping on the TV versus opening a book. It's making the hard decisions over the easy ones, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. It's about just getting up and making progress every single day. And if you do that, you will pick your head up, and you'll pick your head up in 5 years and your life will look completely different.
You're 30, man. How excited are you? Like, how are you excited about your life?
Do I seem excited about my life?
You seem pretty grounded, but I bet you are.
I'm very grounded right now. How much time we got? I'm very grounded right now because I think the world is in a little dangerous place. I'm a little nervous for what we have in store for us as Americans in particular in the next few years. So me being very grounded is me also being very aware. I ask a lot of questions. I've made a career on asking questions. Questions will get you to everywhere you want to go. Your ability to ask me questions right now and your ability to say like, your ability to ask questions is going to determine how far you're going to go. And I like to ask a lot of them. And when you start to ask questions, you start to uncover answers that make you realize that if you're not super in control of your mind and you're having things program it for you, you're in a very dangerous place to not have freedom at all, any kind of freedom. And I think people need to wake up to what's actually to what's really going on in the country. And I'm not here to be like a pessimist. I'm very grounded and I'm very happy. I'm optimistic every single day. I think most people are good. I also think that we live on a planet that's been through we have a lot of weak men in charge that are dinosaurs and out of touch with reality. And there's a lot of shit going on behind the scenes that nobody wants to pay attention to because they're worried about arguing about abortion or who they're going to support in the Russia-Ukraine war. Or they're worried about all the other fucking distractions that are just being thrown at us, that they're not really paying attention to what's going on. And if we don't start paying attention to what's going on, asking questions, holding people accountable for the things that just happened over the past couple of years, the things that are happening right now, holding people accountable for the crimes against humanity that is going on, then I don't know.
Very quickly, man.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah, I do.
Have you ever heard of the World Economic Forum?
No.
Do you know who Klaus Schwab is?
I mean, I've heard of those two things, but I don't know anything about it. Yeah.
You ever heard of the Great Reset?
Yeah.
It's going on.
That's what's going on?
Yeah, they're working on it. It may or may not actually happen, but they're controlling all of the narratives. The same people, these globalist elites want a technocratic one world government, new world order. And they're literally have infiltrated this country and are just tearing it apart from within by getting everybody into different buckets and getting them all pissed at each other and convincing them they all have all these issues. And they control these two political parties that this pendulum keeps swinging back and forth, just banging against each other and pissing everybody off. Meanwhile, these people are up above, just slowly laundering money through wars, through other things. The same people are just laundering money through, they happen to own all the media companies. They happen to own all the pharmaceutical companies. They happen to own all of the Hollywood and all of that stuff. So those people all own that stuff and they're just siphoning money. And meanwhile, they're impoverishing all of the people. They're creating food shortages, manufactured food shortages, and they're creating reliance, digital IDs, things like that that are going to make people basically like we're turning into a communist, socialist, fascist regime right in front of our eyes. And it's all part of this, global reset, which is this new world order that's just going to take over. And people are going to be eating bugs and, it'll be bad. It'll be bad. But I don't think it's going to get there because I think we have too many patriots that can see what's going on. But man, I mean, the way that this changes is if we get the whole system as it is right now is just so freaking corrupted. And you got just these out of touch freaking dinosaurs that are just puppets in there.
Yeah.
And these people that are these globalist elites and this World Economic Forum just wants to freaking impoverish everybody. They don't care about any of you people. None of us. They don't care about any of us. And if we don't do something soon, we won't have any freedom, dude. Like we won't be able to do what my daughter won't grow up in a free country. And that's why I'm really grounded because I'm not I don't know, man. I want my daughter to have the same opportunities, if not more, that I had in this amazing country that we live in, and that people are flocking to get to because of what we have built here over the past couple hundred years. And it's all in jeopardy because a select group of people have gotten incredibly wealthy and then want to just control freaking everything. It's not enough, and they just want to control everything. And they've convinced us all that we're all in different buckets and we all hate each other and look at each other's skin color. And this, that, all these different, it's terrible. And we're falling for it. And it's because there's not enough strong men out there that are asking questions. So.
Damn. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, I'm interested in now because I also want my daughter to grow up, with the same or more opportunities than me. But,
yep.
Man, can I still ask the 4 questions?
You can still ask me 4 questions, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I love my life. I'm very grateful every day. So good, I'm here. Go ahead.
So
what are your
for
4
mindset,
questions?
so what is a mindset shift that you've had that you think has contributed to your success?
A mindset shift that I've had that has contributed to my success. Money is not real. I think that's the biggest freaking one, is like, you got to just realize take money for what it is just, it's super fake, and you need to just spend it now. If you're hoarding it, like holding on to it, or like scared, like lack, if you're in lack, like, and you just have like a few $1,000s and you're in that lack, like, you're telling the universe something bad. Like, you're telling the universe that you don't believe in abundance. Like, you need to just go all in on something. Like, I'm not saying spend all your money, but invest in yourself, do something.
Use it,
right? Because I think realizing that money is not real, and that, guys, they've printed $20 trillion in the last 2 years. Like, it's
That's
not real.
crazy, man.
They're not even printing it anymore. They just drop it in a freaking account. You understand? Like, they have zero freaking regard for the amount of money that's being pushed into the system. And you're freaking whining about a few $1,000s that you can't seem to go get. There's so much money on this freaking planet. You need to go out and get it and realize that it's not real, and go buy hard assets and go buy things that are real, that you can go see, touch, feel, see, smell, that people need to pay you that money then to live there, like, or rent there, whatever. Go take that fake stuff, all this fake paper stuff, go take it and go buy something real with it. And mindset shift, learning that money was fake, was the biggest thing for me. One of them.
Yeah, that was a great insight, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
The third question is mindset map. So clarity. So do you have any advice for people who may lack or need more clarity in their life?
This is a great question. Start at the end. Write your eulogy. Who do you want to be when what do you want someone to say when your daughter's up there, Alex, reading your eulogy at your funeral? What do you want it to say?
Oh, I know.
Okay, then that's great. Most of the world
I even have my Wikipedia page right here. Like, if someone looks me up on Wikipedia in the next couple of years, like, this is what it will say. Understood.
So start at the end and work backwards. I think figuring out if I'm going to be that person at the end of my life, and that's who I'm going to be, I'm going to have done those things, contributed in that way, I've accomplished those things, then what do I need to do in 20 years to make that true? What do I need to do in 10 years to make that true? Then 5, then 1. What do I need to do tomorrow? And then do it every single day. That's how you get clear.
Awesome, man. Thanks. Great insights. Mindset map. Motion. So what is a habit that you have right now that you think, is contributing to your success? A habit.
A habit that I have now that has contributed to my success. I'd like to think that I remain pretty athletic. I enjoy working out. I ran a marathon last year. I kind of like doing physical challenges, and always like playing sports, and remain really athletic. I think moving our bodies. I eat pretty healthy. I always kind of keep track of my macros. I'm not eating stuff. I don't put bad stuff into my body. And those 2 habits, although not related to business, are actually directly correlated to business, because you are what you put into your body and how you exercise it. And, we had this IndyCar racing example, but like, if you want your body to be a Ferrari and you're putting unleaded shit gas in it, like, how's your car going to run? So put good stuff in your body and get some exercise every day.
That's the first thing. That's physical freedom. Learning how to, take care and optimize your body and mind.
That's it.
Mindset map, motion, measure. So what do you think about measuring and tracking, man?
You can't change what you don't track.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. Mindset map, motion, measure, money. Those are the 5 M's of success, right? Everyone wants money. Well, if you want some, you got to get those 4 things right. That's why I ask these questions at the end of every single interview. This is literally like a crash course now, that if you go all the way to the end of my interviews, you'll see like the keys to success and money. So, man, I've had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed our conversation, man. And I really appreciate everything that you said here in this podcast. And I loved it. So if someone else loved it and they want to know more about Shad King and what he does and everything in the real estate and everything that you do, where can they go and find you?
Yeah, if you go to my page on Facebook at Chad King, or you can go to my Instagram at Mr. Chad King, I got everything pretty much in those, handles. I got a commercial real estate company, Titan Capital Group. I got a mastermind group, 7-figure multifamily. And we have an event actually coming up in
June
3
2nd.
weeks here in June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th here in Nashville, Tennessee, that we're teaching people how to buy commercial real estate. But I don't know when this podcast is going to launch because that's in 3 weeks. But anyway, I do it every year. So yeah, come check me out. Give me a follow.
Yeah. Our team is really quick, so it'll probably be like live in the next week or two. Yeah.
Okay.
So, man, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you later, man.
Thanks so much for having me, Alex. It was a good time. Great conversation.
Thank you for watching the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with one friend, leave us a comment, and let us know. 99% of people never leave a review or comment, but we love and are very thankful with the 1% of you who do. If there's something or someone you want to see on this podcast, send me a message on Instagram at Alex_Ramirez1020 and let me know. As a thank you for that, I have an amazing surprise for each and every one of you who does take the time to leave us a comment or review on YouTube or one of the major podcasting platforms